Alright, this video is on predatory women. Women are generally predatory in a different way as a man. When a man is predatory, he's pretty much solo. There are a few exceptions. Women, when they're predatory as a group. What does that mean? Well, that means, say, you got a husband and wife, and they're splitting up, right? The husband just wants to take his kids and get out of the relationship. The wife just wants to take the kids and get out of the relationship. What does the wife do? Well, she wants the kids, so she goes and manipulates other people, says he did this and he did that. Whatever it takes to create a hatred towards that man without him getting a day in court. And then when he reacts to that abuse and that harassment, these groups of women who attack men in that way, many of these women are married, and their husbands will attack that man in that way. That's the thing about predatory women. It's not that they don't exist. It's that they're able to mask it by ganging up on a man. And this is socially acceptable. I just saw a post on this morning about a guy who's supposedly a registered child molester. I looked it up. He's not a registered child molester. These women are just hazing and harassing him. Now, if they weren't hazing and harassing him, they would try to get an honest day in court. Instead of harassing him and then claiming that he's stalking them when he defends himself. Here's the thing. If the dude is really a fucking child molester, you take him to court for molesting a child. That's what you take him to court for. You don't harass him non-fucking stop as a group and then tell him what a terrible person he is for defending himself. You don't send your husbands out there to call him all sorts of terrible names and threaten his life and then play victim because this man calls you a bitch. With all due respect, bitch, you a bitch, your husband's a bitch, your girlfriends are bitches. If you weren't bitches, you would take this man to court. Not by playing victim, but by saying very clearly who his victim is. Have that victim get on the stand and testify against the man. That is how it should be done. Now, does it work that way? Of course not. That's not the world we live in. If a man is guilty of doing something like that, he needs to be locked up. He doesn't need to be out in the general public. But at the same time, if you're not going to do what it takes to lock him up for the things that you started harassing him for, I don't believe that those things ever actually happened. If you aren't taking a man to court for molesting a child, but you're harassing him for being a child molester and then claiming that you're the victim when he defends himself, no, you don't get to do that. You're a coward and a liar, and I will call you that right now. Both a coward and a liar. Because if you weren't a coward and a liar, you wouldn't gang up on a man like that. Treat him like he's a terrible excuse for a human being for something that he was never allowed a day in court over. And you want to play victim because he defends himself, because he called you a bitch? Oh no, it's the end of the world. With all due respect, I've seen what you did to this dude. Yeah. I just looked that shit up. You know how difficult it is to look that stuff up? It's not very difficult at all. She typed his username. What his YouTube channel is. Yes, she's been harassing him, not the other way around. But not just her. Many people are harassing this man. If he did these things, take him to court for those things. Don't push his buttons and push his buttons and then play victim when he defends himself. That's cowardice. See, that's why I'm so against most of the women that I know. It's because when they get called on their BS, they go run to somebody else. No, you just intentionally spoke lies to try to destroy a man's life, to destroy his livelihood. And In most of these cases, it's because the mother wants the kids and is willing to do some very evil stuff to get them. I know lots of sober men who lost their children to meth head mothers over crap exactly like this. And yes, there are lots of single fathers who kill themselves over that. There are certain things that you don't say about a man unless they happened. And if they happened, you take him to court. Now, is there a reason that I'm bringing this up? Yes, because these people who are doing this were people who hopped on when Natalie disappeared and pretended to be my friends when Natalie disappeared. But here's the thing. If this man did these things, you take him to court. You take him to court for being a child molester, and you do it today. But if you want to try to put this man in prison for harassing you, I can see the harassment right here. I can see your harassment. I can see that you're doing it as a group. No, that is not okay. That is very un-American. That is unconstitutional. This man deserves the right to a fair day in court. He deserves the right to a fair trial. Because there are so many women who do this vindictive crap and play victim because they didn't get what they wanted. And then they have no remorse for the man's life that they destroyed. And that's something that I find disgusting about most women in America. They don't understand what a man has to go through when you go spouting that shit. Meanwhile, you take part in it. You do those things along with hundreds of other people. In this case, it's not literally hundreds, but it's pretty darn close. And you all gang up on him, yet there's no victim. Where's the victim? I mean, basically, you're just slandering the shit out of his name. Where's the victim?